Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm John Deal. I'm with the SEA Academy. I'm an ambassador with them. This is my team. If you guys just want to introduce yourselves one at a time.
Hello, I'm Peter.
I'm
Todd.
Ilaria. Oh, sorry, Todd.
And we also have a guest speaker with us today, Dr. John Rindy from Career and Development Services.
Good to see you all.
Okay. And here at the SEA Academy, we plan meetings that will help students, maybe alumni, come back in and learn another lesson, learn another skill. And this week we're talking about networking and the workshop. So we're going to go through understanding yourself and setting goals. Those are tied together. And then we'll talk about introductions, making new introductions with people, where to make those new connections. We'll talk about LinkedIn a little more, how to make connections, what's going on in the current industry, and then we'll give you guys a chance to ask Dr. Rindy some questions. So understanding yourself is central to networking, because if you can't really explain yourself or sell yourself in the skills that you have, you're not really doing yourself justice, and you're not going to get the positions that you desire. It's important to set overarching goals whenever you're talking about goals. There shouldn't be like just one end-all be-all goal. You should have milestones to hit along the way. And whenever we're talking about limits, you're the only one that's placing limits on yourself. So maybe you should consider how you are limiting yourself. Maybe it could be conscious, it could be unconscious. You could be like in a job that you don't want to move up in, and you could be limiting yourself in that way. You're not putting in the work that you could because you don't desire to be in that thing, and maybe that's time for a change. Another part of understanding yourself is understanding how you learn. There's many different types of way to learn. A lot of people are experiential. They learn from their experience actually doing things. But some people can learn just by listening. Others can learn by reading documents and stuff, and they can be a completely virtual learner. So understanding how you learn and how the best way for you to learn the new tasks in your job is, that's also important to know going in. And then just knowing how to work in projects that energize you, knowing whenever you're going into work, you're going to be attentive because what you're doing actually does interest you. So once you understand yourself, you want to, another part of that is setting goals for yourself. So what we talk about here is criticism, and criticism isn't inherently bad. And you should try to learn and correct things that you were critiqued on, because it's just blind spots that you haven't been revealed to yet about yourself. And that's part of learning about yourself and being able to set these goals. So we're going to look at this model here, and it's called the Jihari's window. And the way this works is there's parts of your own head that are known to yourself and unknown to yourself, and there's parts of yourself that are known to others, and there's parts that are unopened to others. And where these intersect, the known self, that's where you're really showing and you know these things about yourself. Like, these are the things that you're open about that you would display. And this section right next to it, the blind section, is where you can get a lot of you can find a lot of self-improvement, because you don't know these things about yourself, but the people around you who have observed you do understand these things. So just by conversating and talking to your peers and talking to people that have been in charge of like seeing your like development, that can really just open you up. So the main parts of this model, the main benefits that you can get are the trust from revealing the information about yourself, like letting people in and letting people understand you and letting them know where to place you in their vision. And then what you can learn from the feedback about yourself, what maybe things that you were unaware of that you're holding yourself back, and they're unconscious and they're fixable. You know, that's where this blind section comes in from. Each of these are also representative of like your personal information, your feelings, your motivations, And it's all about the perspective. That's why it's underlined. It's where like these are things that even if they are not fixable, at least you know about them and you know your limits. But these blind and unknown parts are only fixable. Like these are all just things that you can learn about yourself and help to improve. Another part of setting goals, this is a new thought that I think was brought by Stanford, and it's the idea of life design. And this is how one would build themselves forward instead of making like a radical change. So you want to first assess your situation and see where you are. This is broken down into 4 categories where they talk about work, play, love, and health. Work being like how much you work, play being how much like what do you do for like hobbies, what you do for entertainment, what you do to that really like makes you understand you. Love is just all love, like your relationships, your friends, family, all of that, and how attentive you are to that, how well you're keeping those relationships healthy. And then health is like mental health as well as physical health. And limiting yourself in any of these can be very costly. It'll cause you to misalign, and that gives you feelings of stress, and maybe you feel stuck in a certain career or stuff like that. So assessing your situation is critical to this, because if you make a radical change, maybe you're bringing those things that were causing you all the stress along with you. Maybe it wasn't the job. Maybe it's because you don't put enough work into it, or maybe you're putting too much work into it, and you're not leaving yourself enough time to de-stress with the play, or you're neglecting your relationships, or maybe you're neglecting your health. Maybe you're not getting enough sleep because you're working too much. And all of these things need to be in balance to help yourself. So we talk again about putting limits on yourself, and having an end goal. But not everybody does have an end goal. So if you don't have like a tangible end goal in your mind right now, what you can do is you can find yourself a mental compass to like guide you. And what this mental compass is just your interests and your principles. It's like what energizes you, what engages you, what brings you joy, like things like that. And then use that to show like where you should move forward. Don't get put into a career where you're constantly going to be battling for your attention, you know? So that is also important. And I also wanted to remind people on the end of the slide that most people will have multiple careers within their lifetime. It's not the end all be all. What you are working towards right now is probably not what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. It just isn't. So now we're going to talk about introductions. And so understanding yourself, and like all we've talked about before, it's important to the actual networking, the beginning part of it, making an introduction to someone new. So why it's important is that you have to sell yourself. And I think I mentioned that at the top. Understanding how to describe yourself. And this is important, not because you need to understand you do need to understand it, but the verbiage and the words that you use to illustrate your skills can be changed, and it can also be viewed from different perspectives. Okay. So whenever you're going into like a corporate job or something, and you've only worked at McDonald's or something, they don't want to hear about how you know how to mop the floors or work the cash register. They want to know about things like maybe you were a leader in there. Maybe you had to deal with some coworkers that you didn't get along with. So maybe you learned more about yourself, and you're good at teamwork, and you're good at dealing with that type of stuff. And that's what you would want to illustrate from the job. They don't want to know that you mopped floors. So it's just about framing yourself and framing yourself competently, maybe showing that you have skills, you know? So employable value, this is what comes from that. And this is where you can change. So you need to learn new skills, and that can be done by making these introductions to people. Maybe you're not looking for a job. Maybe you're just looking for more information on how to do a given job. Maybe you want to know what it's like in the actual field. feel free to reach out to those people and search for them online, and we'll show you how to find people with similar interests here in a sec. But that's how to change that. And then also designing your resume with professional or other options. I just want to briefly touch on resumes because that's not what this is about, but just don't pollute it with charts because they put them on scanners now. So if you have charts or anything, like it's just not going to read it. So it doesn't matter. And then sell yourself with the receiver in mind. And we'll talk more about that because it relates more to the pitch letter. So the pitch letter goes along with your resume, and this is what they're going to read before they read your resume. This is where you really introduce yourself and you really sell yourself and sell yourself to them specifically in mind. So knowing and being able to illustrate your strengths, like we said, is very important to this part. So knowing yourself is where this ties into. Once you know that, you can find your shared interests with the person online. And where can you find these? They're on their LinkedIn. It's on their online accounts. Like people just write about themselves. And you can find out things like that. And then you want to make your entire first paragraph about how you find this person and what ties you two together and why you're interested in working with them. Then on most like job applications, you'll find a list of abilities they want you to have. So you just pick 3 of them and then show them how from your past experiences you've been able to illustrate them. And like we said, with the reframing, it can come from just about anywhere, you know, like I'm sure you can find at least one instance where you demonstrated that ability for that job, and just talking about it can show the person that you are competent in that skill. So also an important thing is to link to further information about yourself. This would be the last paragraph where you're showing them how to get into contact with you. You definitely want to leave phone and email. But something you might also want to look into is maybe having a personal website that you can link to that they could go to find more things about you than your resume would have, like your actual likes and interests and stuff. And designing that as well could really help you. Find similar interests between yourself and the desired connection. It can be anything. It can be you both share a love of sustainability. It could be that you're both in business. It could be that you both have experience in a leadership position or something like that, you know? Stand out by taking an interest in them and showing them that you care about similar things that they do, you know? Okay. Now we're going to talk about where to make the connections. Everything is done online now, you know, because if you're limiting yourself by location, you know, you're not going to be getting like exactly the amount of money that you think you probably could, you know. You might, but you're really limiting yourself if you're staying in one location. And even at that point, you're still going to be needing to go online to find other people. The biggest place for this is LinkedIn. Everybody's using LinkedIn now. So learning it and making a LinkedIn account and getting connected is pretty important to developing your career. You can go to Career and Development Services. This is for Slippery Rock students and alumni both. And they have a tool called Labor Insight, which I will have Dr. Rindy show you here after the slide. But I also wanted to talk about the Alumni Association, and joining that can also help you stay in touch with people that have similar interests, and they plan events and seminars and workshops if you are that person that likes to talk in person, you know. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a sec so that Dr. Rindy can share.
Hey, thanks, John. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's great. You got a lot of stuff here, and wow, tough show to follow there. A lot of great content. I opened up a couple of things just because you were talking about them, and I won't belabor them. But you know, pitch letter or cover letter or letter of interest is something your career coach can help you with. And this example here, we can certainly provide it to you, but to any of you. But it really outlines for you what every section of that pitch letter should be doing. You know, use the same heading as on your on your resume, so you have that consistent look among your documents. The reason this is linked to networking is because when you start connecting with people in the professional world, they're going to be asking for your resume. So you don't want to be going out and doing fervent networking without making sure you have a resume that's been looked over, preferably by somebody who has looked at thousands of resumes. Too many people are building these things and they're doing it off of Google, or they're asking mom and dad. Really bad idea. I mean, like, I've looked at 20,000, or I've built 20,000 resumes. Don't do these yourself. Go to the people whose salary you paid to learn how to do these. We'll teach you how to do them, and then we'll get off that, and we're going to move on to the next thing, whether it's LinkedIn or interview practice or whatever. But anyway, real quickly, if you don't know who you're sending a pitch letter to eventually, or a cover letter, you can just put hiring manager. If you don't have a person's name, you can just say regarding whatever the position is. But the first paragraph is, introducing yourself, where you learned about the position, why somebody should consider reading on. After reviewing this position, I would be well suited because. Don't say I believe I'd be well suited. I don't want to hire someone who believes or feels they're well suited. I am certain that I am well suited for this role because, just like John was talking about, here's that section with those skills that are going to be congruent with the skills you saw in the job description. Because once you upload this thing in your resume, that tracking system, that scanner he was talking about, it's reading your resume, it's reading your cover letter, and what it's looking for is the skills that were in the job description. So yeah, what that means is you have to change this letter, you have to change your resume every single time you upload it. And it's something like only about maybe 30% of resumes on the first read are actually being read by people. Same thing with cover letters. And then finally, here's why you're a good fit for the team. So here's why I'm a good fit for the job. Get those skills in there. This shows a little research on the company. Here's why I want to work for you, and here's why you're going to like me. Here's why I can do it. Here's why you're going to like me doing it. And then ask for that. Ask for the interview. I would appreciate an opportunity to interview. So I just thought I'd bring that up since you mentioned it, just to show you an example. But your career, we have 11 career coaches. So go onto your Handshake account, sign up for an appointment to build one of these, and then you can adjust it a little bit every time. But definitely do that in conjunction with a professional. Let's see. I had opened a couple of other things here. The other thing I'd opened up is you talked briefly about life design. In life design, by the way, Slippery Rock has embraced life design now. We have 2 years in using the life design approach that was founded at Stanford University. And it's based on the book, Designing Your Life. 2 Stanford professors actually wrote the book. So life design, instead of the old K through 12 model that you've all been through, where somebody badgered you for 12 years, or what are you going to be? 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 Why can't you tell me what you're going to be? Well, the reason I can't tell you what I'm going to be is because there's 30,000 sub-occupations in the United States. And I graduated from high school aware of 2% of them. And that's why so many of you changed majors. That's why so many of you changed what you're going to do, because you suddenly start to learn about stuff that you had never heard of in high school. That's why so many of your friends left exercise science to go to public health or wherever. They heard the exercise part. They didn't hear the science part, right? But you can't know what you don't know. Sometimes you have to experience stuff before you know those things. In the book, Designing Your Life, and certainly we use these dysfunctional beliefs in our office, just some things to be very aware of in terms of self-awareness and your goals, your future goals, everybody, because networking fits with goals, because you can't get to a goal by yourself. You need to have a professional network or professional connections. The whole idea of networking scares people. So less and less we're using the term networking in our office. We're more and more saying professional connections. They're just professional connections. Networking has this connotation that I have to go into a big room with 100 people, shake hands, kiss baby, stand by the bar, because that's where most people are. Those are all the old rules of networking, that I got to stand by the bar because that's where most people are if I want to grab the most business cards. Stuff has changed. So even if you're a little more introverted, you can still network one person at a time when you feel like it, using LinkedIn. But here's the point. You're networking or you're not working. You all knew I was going to say it eventually. You're networking or you're not working. You have to have connections, because, as I always say, this thing ain't going to hire you. I mean, we could look at this thing all day. It is never going to hire you for a job, right? A person is. So you better have people. So as you start to get to know yourself and start to plan your life out, I encourage you to work with a career coach. If you've not actually done a life design, it's kind of a neat process where we explore some really deep questions about you. You might get to know some stuff about yourself. That blind spot. We can help uncover some of that. That's your biggest area for growth in professionalism, by the way, is that blind spot. Stuff that other people see in you, but you don't see in yourself. Like, hey, do you know you say a lot when you're speaking publicly? I mean, until somebody tells you that, you may not even know it. That's a blind spot that you definitely can fix if you work with somebody who's a good public speaker. So let's take a look real quickly before we move on to the tools that John was talking about at some of the dysfunctional beliefs. These are all dysfunctional. These are all incorrect. And as you start approaching your professional network, you need to have that vision of your future. And these are the things that can get in the way. All right. We judge our lives by the outcome, but we need to reframe it to life as a process, not an outcome. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. There's a great book out now, and Dr. Barry read it. He recommended it to me, actually. It's called Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. Annie Duke is she's a professional poker player. If you watch professional poker, I'm sure you know Annie Duke. Well, she wrote this book, and here's what Annie Duke says. Isn't it interesting that when things go wrong in our life, we always look for someone else to blame? It's always someone else's fault. It was a bad professor. Well, it's because we're online. But when things go well, that was all me. It was my brilliance, and it was the wonder of me. And here's the problem. Here's what's behind all that. We treat life as though it's like chess, meaning so chess doesn't have any chance to it. You're either a good chess player or you're lousy. So if you lose the game of chess, there was no chance in that. You were just lousy and the person was better than you. There's no chance. So it's sort of like, well, if you're better, then you win the game of chess. When we treat life like that, well, this good thing happened, so it was me that did it. But actually, life is more like poker. A part of life, a part of your networking, a part of your career success is pure chance. You happen to meet a person who happens to know somebody at this company who happens to have a job right and open, and they just happen to hire you. That wasn't your brilliance. That was because you did a little bit of networking and you happened to, by chance, come across somebody who had a position open. But some of it is your influence. Like in a game of poker, if you're a good poker player, some of it's your skill, but a lot of it's chance. Life is not like chess. It's like poker. You got to make the right moves. And one of the right moves is what John's talking about. A, knowing yourself. B, after you know yourself well and you have some goals and you know where you're trying to go, get some professional people into that network who can help you get to those goals. But understand that some of it is going to be through your own moves and actions, and some of it's going to be chance. Here's a perfect example, since we're going to talk about LinkedIn in a second. To get a good connection on LinkedIn, I'm going to tell you right now, it's like sales. Anybody who's going into sales knows you make about 100 sales. So you get a list of about 100 people and you prospect them to see who you might want to call on. Maybe 15 of those are going to give you an appointment. All right. Now they're actual true leads. So you went from prospects to leads, and now you're going to go out and you're going to try to close a sale with those 15. Maybe 3, maybe 4 are going to buy from you. So you started with 100. Only 15 said I'll take an appointment, and only 3 are going to buy from you. Very classic sales model. Same thing in LinkedIn, folks. You're going to connect with 20 people. Maybe 2 of those are going to be really valuable to you. So don't get frustrated. That's how it works. You just got to be persistent, and I'm going to show you how to do it here in a second. All right, real quickly on some of these other ones. It's my life. I have to design it myself. It's all up to me. Well, sure, you got to do your work in the classroom, but as far as where to go out there, you got a whole career office. First of all, are you using us? I certainly hope so. I always say not using us is like paying your money at window 1 and then driving off without your food at window 2. It doesn't make any damn sense. So why wouldn't you use the professionals who have some of the tools I'm going to show you here? And second of all, there's 340 million people in this country. There's 70 million alum. All these people are willing to help you, or should say a lot of them are willing to help you, but not if you think that sitting in a classroom is what's going to get you a job. I mean, the news is 70 million people have a bachelor's degree. So surprise, that doesn't make any of us unique anymore. Back in the 60s, it did, when nobody had a college degree. So know yourself and why you're different than others, because you are going to be asked the question in a job interview, why should I choose you? And maybe even in a networking situation, somebody might say, I have a position open. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, you can't say, well, my name's John Rindy, because that's on my LinkedIn profile. And I went to Youngstown State, because that's on my LinkedIn profile. Not regurgitate your history. No, seriously, why are you better than other people? I'm talking about practical intelligence, emotional intelligence, analytical intelligence, social intelligence, creative intelligence. Do you know much about all those different types of intellects in yourself? You need to sit down with somebody and inventory this stuff. So when you're faced with a networking situation, you can sell yourself. So you don't have to design it yourself. You need a network around you to help you design your future, not just your career folks, but the people out there that can get you into the positions you're really interested in someday, maybe even entrepreneurship. The idea that I can finish designing my life and the hard work's done. I'm 54 and I'm still designing my life. My boss came to me a year ago and say, okay, you're not just running the career office anymore. You're now going to have 4 offices reporting to you. What, who, what? I don't even know what the offices did that are reporting to me. Like the success coaches are reporting to me now. I was like, I don't even know what these people do. And now I do, of course. So you got to be patient, say yes to opportunity. And especially if somebody says to you, hey, do you want to come and job shadow me for a day? Absolutely, if you can fit it in. This is a big one, everybody. This is the anxiety that everybody feels. I should know where I'm going. I'm a junior. I should know where I'm going. Hell no, you should not know where you're going. You won't always know where you're going, but you can always know whether you're going in the right direction if you understand what gives you joy, what makes you feel like you have purpose, what gives you energy, what makes you feel engaged, and then what out there looks like that. See what I'm saying? People say, if you make your job your play, you never have to work a day in your life. That's what I'm getting at. What's going to be joyful to you to go to every day is embodied in what gives you joy now. But most people in our society don't settle down long enough to figure out what gives them joy. Do a life design with a career coach and you'll explore that stuff. Work is not supposed to be enjoyable. That is the world's biggest lie. I can't wait to get to work every day. This is how you should be. But yet you all know parents and friends who hate their job. It's wrong. You should not hate your job. And the reason people hate their job is because they never explore themselves. They stick themselves in a job before figuring out what's important to them. When they get to that last question in the job interview, hey, do you have any questions for us? No, I don't think so. The worst answer you could possibly give, because this is your chance to interview them about the things that are important to you, to see if you are jumping out of some frying pan and into a fire. Come into the career office. We'll teach you this stuff. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do next. Bull. You can always generate ideas, but sit down with somebody who understands the labor market and can help you generate ideas with data. Okay, enough of all this baloney. Let me show you some stuff. All right. So John was talking about a tool called Labor Insight, and then I have signed into it to show you this. So I don't know, Todd, what labor market do you want to go into? Do you have job in mind? Particular occupation?
I don't have a particular job in mind, not yet. But I think eventually probably something to do with sports.
Something with sports. Okay, so let me just demonstrate something that I could do with sports. All right. So I'm going to go up here to create report. And by the way, all of you have different things in mind: accountant, financial manager, whatever. And I can do all sorts of crazy great stuff with this. So first thing I want to show you is I'm going to go ahead and stretch out the time period that we're looking. So what this thing is doing is analyzing all jobs posted in the United States. And I'm asking it to analyze all jobs posted in the US for the last 12 months. And I'm talking fast, so sorry if I smear words together. I don't want to take up the whole rest of the hour here. We can see that in the last 365 days, everybody, there have been 35 million jobs posted in the United States. So that's really, really good. If we want to know how many were seeking bachelor's degrees, by the way, I could put bachelor's in here and let's scroll up and see. All right, there have been 8.4 million jobs in the US seeking a bachelor's degree in the last 365 days. But you're all thinking, wait a minute, I'm not going to have any experience. Cool. So let's put 0 to 2 years experience, entry level. Everybody, you can see there's just been just short of 2 million jobs posted. This is pretty cool, ain't it? There have been just short of 2 million jobs posted in the United States seeking entry level and bachelor's degree holders. All right. Now, and I could do neat stuff with this. So like I could say, all right, what were the top job titles? What were the top titles among those jobs? So we're going to come up here and I'm going to hit apply. Check this out. So here, of course, registered nurse is probably going to be first by far. It's the most in-demand bachelor's degree occupation. There you go. But after that, any accounting majors in the room? Congratulations. Entry-level accountants are the second most commonly posted job in the United States, seeking a bachelor's degree and 0 to 2 years experience. How about you finance people? Hey, all you business people, these are all business jobs, by the way. Project manager, Dr. Nightingale would be loving on that, right? A case manager, that's the first time we get to more like social science, human services, right? But software, store manager, outside sales, recruiter, that's just the top 25 for everybody. I can take this out as far as we want. I can show you the top 200 if I spit this out in an Excel spreadsheet. Data analyst. So if you're thinking of going into that master's in data analytics, not a bad idea, folks. There you go. Now that's bachelor's degree. Ours is a master's. Okay, so we were looking for sport, right? So let's go back over here. And I'm going to just edit this report. Now I'm going to link what we're doing here to LinkedIn in a minute. So I'm kind of demonstrating what your career coach can help you do. I don't know if you all were driving down I-79 in December or January, but the billboard that, there's always a Slippery Rock billboard there that people like edit on Twitter, like SRU, Snow and Rain University. I love it when they do that stuff. The worst water in the world, whatever they do with that billboard on Twitter. Pretty cool. But the one that was up there December, January said, Slippery Rock was chosen by Zippia.com as the #1 state university, a public university in Pennsylvania for employment outcomes. We had the highest employment outcomes of all state institutions in Pennsylvania. You're starting to see why. I can tell you what pond to fish in, and I can tell you what bank to fish off of. All right, so watch this. So what we're going to do, we don't just want to know job titles for our sport management people. We want to know, okay, what employers posted those jobs? We won't say industries because we're going to search industries. And where were those jobs? And hey, what the hell was the entry-level salary being offered? And since I need to have the right skills on my resume, what were the skills they were looking for so the bald guy can actually help me get them on my resume and on my LinkedIn profile so I get found by these people? You get what we're doing here, everybody? All right. And then once we have the companies, we can then go over to LinkedIn and try to link in with people in those companies. All right, so let's run this for kind of like that sporting industry. We're going to look nationwide, but I can run it for Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh and all that. In case you're wondering, how big is the Pittsburgh? So Pennsylvania represented only 4% of all entry-level bachelor's degree jobs. So that's very important for you all to keep in mind. If you say I want to stay in Pennsylvania, you're saying I am not interested in 96% of the jobs that existed. Not good. All right, Pittsburgh, 1% of the US job market. 99% of all entry-level bachelor's degree jobs were not in Pittsburgh, and I can prove it to you through this tool. All right, so let's go over to industry here, and we're going to select a sector, and we're going to want to go down that arts and entertainment and recreation, and then specifically, we want to go down to spectator sports. All right, I'm going to add that in there, and promoter of arts, sports, and similar events. Why the heck not? Let's add it in there. Sport management folks. I would say hospitality would be good for these groups too, but we can also run it for hotels and beds and breakfasts and stuff like that too. All right. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff. I can search by keywords. Maybe you want an internship in that field. I can click internship. Maybe you only want full-time. I can click that. Yeah, I can search by compensation and everything. All right, so you can see the numbers of jobs posted for bachelor's degree earners, not super encouraging, and this shouldn't surprise anybody. It would be the same in hospitality. Now, this is not the time to get discouraged by this, because first of all, you got to remember, first, only 27% of Americans work in a job that's related to what they studied. That's US Census tells you that. Only 27% of Americans with a bachelor's degree work in a job that's related to what they study. The idea is you take what Dr. Crow taught you and what Dr. Abney taught you, and if you're not in sport management, those are sport management professors, and then you take it out to whatever field appreciates those skills, just like me. I have a business management degree. My second degree is environmental science. My third is in public health. And finally, my doctorate is in educational leadership and management. So I'm actually working in that field. But so the skills are transferable. But let's just run this analytics. And by the way, keep in mind, we are only looking at entry level. If I let it open to all jobs, we'd have more in there. So when we run this, and keep in mind, folks, I can do this by occupation. I can do this by all kinds of categories. So I can always help you here. So Live Nation was the #1 place that you should be looking for a job. So keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and LinkedIn and see if we can find out who would we connect with at Live Nation, which puts on concerts and everything, of course. A lot of big venues, NFL, Major League Baseball, so on and so forth. All right. So here they all are. These are all places that we want to take our networking. Here are your top job titles. The most commonly posted job titles for entry level with a bachelor's degree in the sporting and spectator sports market in the last year were box office manager, regional sales, assistant manager, trainee, staff accountant, and so on. And we can drill down to find out where those things were, by the way. And here are your top states. I mean, Pennsylvania is not bobbing the needle here, is it? Yeah, it's way down there. Not a lot of jobs in PA. And of course, remember, hospitality, spectator sports, boom, right in the nose this last year. They just got crunched. So the idea is don't put off your career sitting around waiting to work in hospitality and sport. Get the heck out there and go work in banking or work in healthcare or work in sales, work for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, work for Fastenal, work for Cintas, a company that hires tons of entry-level people. And now you're going to have 2, 3, 4 years of like direct to business sales. Anybody will pick you up after that. Okay. Moving on. Here's your entry-level salary. So here is the salary curve for people who are hired into this, 39,240. And then there's your 25th percentile to the, who's not liking this stuff, okay? This is good stuff. You see, I can tell you exactly what pond efficient. Now, let's get onto your resume. These are the skills that would be come out of your major. See how it says specialized skills up here? Specialized skills means it came out of your major. This is stuff that employers would have expected that you would have picked up sometime in your collegiate life. Now, so we can get some of these into your resume. Or we can come over to your transferable skills or baseline skills. Some people call them power skills. These are things you built in your student organizations, doing research with a faculty member, through your internships, through job shadowing, through your summer jobs, through study abroad, community engaged learning. This is why we said get involved. It wasn't for our health. We really want you to have stories that you can tell with all these skills so we can get it on your resume. And B, you can tell stories. I'm not just saying answering interview questions. I'm saying tell stories that contain these. Give me an example of when you demonstrated organizational skills. I mean, they're not going to ask you in an interview, do you have organizational skills? Yes. I mean, they don't ask close-ended questions in an interview. It's like, give me a story that lasts at least 90 seconds that tells me a time when you developed organizational skills under pressure. Well, gosh, I hope you did, or you can't answer that question. You're going to have to be a damn good storyteller and make something up fast, right? Okay, so this is something that we can do. Now I said, let's take these data and let's go over to LinkedIn. Now we said Live Nation. So let's go on over to Live Nation here. And so let's just put in Live Nation. Now, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, you can set up an appointment by calling the career office, or you can go into your Handshake profile and schedule there. And what we want to do is Live Nation in people. So we want to look at the people who work for Live Nation. Sorry, you're reading all my emails in LinkedIn. All right, so here's all kinds of people. It's 10 per page, and we've got 100 pages of them. I was talking to a lot of the kids down at Seneca Valley today, and I went on to a page that showed all of Seneca Valley High School's alum. And there was I don't know, 81 pages of them. And Darla Ramirez-Leitner, their school counselor's like, can you do a LinkedIn session for our students too? I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's do it in April or something. This is so powerful. I mean, you're not going to meet Alex or Alexis over in Giant Eagle. You know, you're going to meet Alexis here. So let's see, who should you connect with? Well, let's go over to all filters here. And you can filter by so many things. You can even come down here to school, wherever it was, and see if anybody can add a school, type in Slippery Rock, and see if any Slippy people work there, right? But what I want to do is come down here and put recruiter in here, right? That's who you want. You want the recruiter. Unless, by the way, you're looking for an internship. If you're looking for an internship at Live Nation, put intern. Why would you do that? Why? Because it's going to connect you with people who are already doing exactly what you want to do. And you can connect with that intern and say, yo, I want to be an intern at Live Nation. Tell me the steps that you took so that I can take those same steps. Why not ask the person who's already done it? You know, why go through all the trouble trying to figure it out and read websites? Talk to somebody who already has the magic. Okay, so here we go. I put in, let's put in recruiter. Oh, where did it go here? Come on now. All right, recruiter. Whoa. Yeah, well, let's try that again. We don't want intern, but you see there are a lot of interns, by the way. Okay, don't know why that's doing that. Let's stop that. Let's go back to Live Nation. You know what, let me move our pictures, like our photos here of all of us here stepping on me. All right. Recruiter. There we go. Another word you might use is talent acquisition. Some companies call it a talent acquisition specialist. Some call it a recruiter. Well, looky here. There's Gloria Domiziano, right? Beautiful name, right? So you get in there. Please always look at the person's profile. Don't just hit connect. Let them see, I call it breadcrumbing people. Always leave a breadcrumb behind that you actually took the time to look at Gloria's profile. And then, you know, you can connect. Add a note, dear Ms. Domiziano, which is awesome because I'm part Italian. But anyway, dear Ms. Domiziano, my name is John Deal. I'm a soon to graduate Slippery Rock student, Western Pennsylvania. Very interesting opportunities at Live Nation. I would very much value the connection. Kindly, John. And then when she connects with you, you jump back in. Dear Ms. Damiziano, thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn. If I had one or two, folks, don't ask 10 questions of people by LinkedIn. These folks get 200 emails a day. They can't answer 10 questions. It's always, can I ask one or two questions of you? If you're really lucky, what they're going to say to you is, oh, you know what? Here's my phone. Call me after 2 o'clock on Friday. And then you can ask as many as you want. Always look at their profile. Always write a personal note when you connect with people that you want to network with. So that, I don't want to use the whole hour. Last but not least, I just want to show you the power of LinkedIn. So there's a young fellow who's coming to Slippery Rock next year. So he's not even here yet. His name is Luke Brawler, and he goes to Lincoln, which is the performing arts high school down there in the Ohio River Valley. And he decided he wanted to come, he heard about life design, and he wanted to do a life design. So we started talking about that. And part of life design is kind of coming up with 3 prototype careers, things you think you might want to do, but you're not yet sure. And then we're going to put together what's called an Odyssey plan, where you're going to actually go out, meet people, try stuff, debrief with your career coach, ideate, meet people, try stuff, debrief with the career coach. But we couldn't come up with the exact career titles yet. So we can't do the Odyssey plans until we do. So what I did was I went out and started connecting him with Slippery Rock alum. And so here is a young woman by the name of Amanda, very successful in digital media graphic design. He's talking to her, like you can see, he's already talking to her. Let's see. So here is a woman named Melissa, Slippery Rock alum. He's already out there asking open-ended questions in an informational interview. One of my favorites to show here is, so here's, let me find it here. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I love it, especially if people are telling me they're going into media, digital media, is Bob Hitchcock. Here's a Slippery Rock alum who presently works for the Walt Disney Company. He's a content director, producer, and master storyteller. And now Luke Brawler, who isn't even at Slippery Rock yet, is building a life design, saying what his Odyssey plans are going to be for the next 3 years, things he's going to get involved in, and the people he's going to talk to see, will this make me joyful? Will this make me joyful going to work every day? And he's talking to people like Bob Hitchcock, a master storyteller at Disney. You aren't going to meet Bob over at Rite Aid. The only place you're going to meet Bob is on LinkedIn. So let's figure out your market. Let's figure out who the heck you are. Let's get you into a life design so you know who you are, and you can have great conversations with confidence with people. And let me show you how to deeply connect. Now, folks, when I say me, we got 11 career coaches. That's what I mean. If you're not sure how to make appointments, you can always call the number on sru.edu/career. The phone number's there, 8 to 4:30. Lisa can get you scheduled with any of them. And then if you use your Handshake account, most of you know where Handshake is, sru.edu/handshake. Click Career Center, Appointments, Schedule, and then you'll be able to schedule. And then it's going to ask, are you doing this for a class or not? You just click General Career Appointments, and then there'll be a whole list of different appointments. Maybe you want networking in LinkedIn. Maybe you want to build a life design. Those are all on there. Or maybe you just want to build a resume. You can schedule that way. I'm done here. I'm giving it back to John.
Thank you, Dr. Linder. That was very informational. So yeah, we just talked about Labor Insight. I'm going to talk about LinkedIn again for a little bit. Even I might be retouching on some points here. So LinkedIn that's where everybody's connecting nowadays. So this is where you are going to meet people, make those connections, even though there's like distances away. Those are the people that you find shared experiences with and like stuff like that. And talking about like your past and maybe just bringing up alumni, if you go on to Slippery Rock's LinkedIn, they have an entire alumni tab, and you could search based off of like keywords. So I did this earlier, and I just I went on and I searched up sustainability, and it brought up people, and then you can search by like which year they left, so you can get people that left a little bit ago and are already making their way into that career. So that's another way to search and utilize LinkedIn to find people that may want to talk to you as well, because they have those shared experiences. And then I also wanted to talk about the personalized messages, but you kind of saw that with Dr. Rindy's. So this is how to make and maintain connections. Developing professional connections is really just staying visible to your own network, giving them updates on like what you're doing and like where you're at, and maybe helping them out back if they have questions about what you do and stuff like that. You can in this your network is where you learn more. You know, you should never stop learning. You should never grow stagnant and grow comfortable, because that's when you do get stuck in that career, and you get stressed out because you're not moving forward, and you're not, you know, you're not getting that desired results. So research your connections that you're going to look up before you message them. That's always important, to find your common interests. And doing that research can be as simple as going on LinkedIn and checking out their account and seeing what they're writing about and what they're talking about. And just it gives you that edge whenever you're going into that conversation, because you know what they're about, what their ideas prove, and you know where that you and them overlap. Designing your letter to introduce yourself in a professional way is important as well. These are mostly just restating what we went over earlier, and being open to new experiences and opportunities. They always say, be able to go anywhere, be able to do anything, you know, be professional. I think there's one more. And be willing to meet everyone, you know, just be willing to make those desired connections in any place that you can. And online is a great place to do that, but you'll meet people that you can include in your network along the way, just moving through career. So briefly, I wanted to talk about what the industry is looking like now, just because, you know, people might be worried because of the pandemic, like reaching out and going into networking. Is that going to be more challenging? Well, if anything, it might be a little easier because everybody's online now, you know? I mean, beforehand, it was still online. Nothing's really changed for meeting people that you've never met before. They usually wanted to start with a call or a video call or email correspondence anyway. It's still the same way. And if you're thinking about within going into a new organization and not being able to meet your fellow employees face to face, is that going to be a hindrance on your ability to create like lasting relationships? Well, in some ways, but in other ways, no, because larger companies are looking for ways to help you bridge those gaps, because they recognize that networking is an important tool for their own employees and their future leadership. You know, they need you guys to understand and work together as a team and not hate somebody over the line because you've never met them in person and all you've gotten is their interactions through the company. And maybe you think they're a little like they don't work as hard as you do, but you don't know their story because you've never met them before. But it's important to recognize that we're all people, and even the people that are going to be higher than you are people, and you can do it too. You know, you everybody is just as smart or dumb as you think you are. You know, they got just about the same information that you do. So, you know, cut them some slack. This is just proving that we're not lying. And right now I want to turn it over to Dr. Rindy for any questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. Think about if you have any questions. Let me just show you the trick that John was talking about. He was mentioning how to find those Slippery Rock alum on LinkedIn. Most people don't know how to do this, and it's pretty cool stuff. So all you have to do is type in Slip. And there we are. Choose the one with the old main, not all these other ones. And you can join this Slippery Rock Alumni Networking Group. Kelly Bailey will admit you to that as well. But once you're in here, this is really great. If you've never used it, it is quite a cool tool. You click on alumni. Everybody see that there? Okay. And let's say somebody, and I use it for stuff like this. Somebody will ask me, hey, I'm a marketing student. Can you just, I'm like, what are entry-level jobs for marketing? Well, first I'll show you on Labor Insight, because I could search by major too. So I could put bachelor's in marketing, top titles, last 365 days, entry level. And I could show you what the top titles were that you should be looking for when you're on company websites. But I can also do it this way. I can put like in 20, let's say students that were at Slippery Rock from 2016 to 2019. All right. And then I can come over here and say, and you can see, by the way, students who were at Slippery Rock in those years, you can see where they work. UPMZ, Giant Eagle, Army National Guard, Amazon, PNC. So you could always start by hunting for jobs there, because that's where our marketing grads went. Well, that's where all our grads went. We're going to filter this down to marketing. That filters us down from 30-some thousand to about 9,800 from that time period. Now we're going to come over to next and click on what they studied. By the way, if your major is not here, you can just click add and add your major, and then it'll search out people that just graduated in that major. But anyway, let's go to marketing. And some of you may be in marketing. And you can see a few things. First of all, most of them are in the Pittsburgh area, followed by Sharon, Erie, and so on. And here were the top employers: Dick's, American Eagle, Target, Northwestern Mutual. A lot of these are ones that hire a lot of our entry-level salespeople, ADP, Fastenal. These are the ones that come to our job fairs. Some people walk out of my career fairs and say, oh, there's nothing there for me. Well, sorry, it's going to be people who want to hire entry-level folks. That's who's going to come to our career fairs. I mean, SpaceX ain't coming to my career fair. They do post jobs on Handshakes. We got Tesla. We got Procter & Gamble. So go on there. You could also look for jobs. There's over 3,000 jobs right now on Handshake. Those are companies who specifically want you. They specifically chose that their jobs and internships flow to Slippery Rock. There's over 1,000 internships on there too. So it's kind of like a hidden gem I want more people to use. Anyway, so let's, here's kind of the cool thing is, if I scroll down now, here are all the marketing people from back when, from those days. Some of them may still be students, by the way, because they may have left and then come back. And you can start looking at them, connecting with them, seeing what their job titles are, and at least you know what are the entry-level jobs, because you filtered it on LinkedIn. Very, very powerful tool. Or maybe you specifically, let's get rid of marketing, or maybe you specifically want to work for a particular company. Let's take these out here. Come on now. It's unable to load. What I was going to show you is you can actually click on the histogram for like UPMC, and then scroll down, and it'll show you all of just the employees at UPMC that are Slippery Rock alum, and you can start connecting with them. And by the way, a lot of those people are recruiters. We have a lot of recruiters in places like BNY Mellon, PNC Bank, UPMC, Allegheny Health Network, Highmark. A lot of those alum are actual recruiters. So that's a really cool tool. But anyway, I'm happy to demonstrate anything on LinkedIn, or just answer general questions. The phone number for career is on the chat, as well as the process if you want to use Handshake to make your appointments with the career office. But what questions do you have for me?
I was wondering if the Career Center, like, if you could go there in person right now, or if it's all virtual.
Awesome question. Yeah, we are still virtual, just because I am literally the only one on the whole team of all of our 4 offices that I oversee that actually has their vaccination now. So since they're not vaccinated, and we do have some people with extended health problems, not day-to-day problems, but enough that we don't want them face-to-face with everyone yet. Our hopes are that we'll be back face-to-face, but while classes are going to be face-to-face, it is definitely still up in the air whether your advisement sessions with your faculty, whether that'll still remain on Zoom, whether career success coaches, disabilities, people who usually you would sit next to physically, whether that's going to remain a Zoom or not. We're probably not going to call that until we see what happens to the infection rate. But I will tell you everything. So ours is the only office that has been doing this for years, because we work with 70,000 alum. And they're all over the world. So we're really used to Zoom appointments. And I think you'll find your career coach is just as great, no matter whether you're face-to-face, but we do hope to be face-to-face. I will say that the one appointment type that's a little tougher is LinkedIn, because you actually do have to give us your password so that we could sign on. And then, so the order is build your resume first. Okay, always build your resume with us first. And then we're going to use that resume to populate your LinkedIn. And make sure that all the bullets are written right. And then we're going to help you write your about section, your brand statement. Then we're going to help you flesh out everything else. And then you're going to get your pick on there, and we'll get you up to that top user profile that you should be at. But any appointment that you can do face-to-face, you can still do with us, and you're going to have a really great experience with our career coaches. We've met with almost 3,000 students since March of last year, and no one's complaining. So either they're just keeping their mouth shut about it, or we're actually doing a good job.
Okay. If nobody else has a question, okay. I just wanted to thank John Randy again for coming in.
Thanks, John.
Great job. I want to thank our audience. I want to thank the team. I think if anything, I hope people took away that these resources are out there for you if you're an alum here or whatever, or just going here. They're still currently in use, and I want just be professional and be polite, and that's how you can keep those relationships, because that's what people are missing in the day. Okay, I think I'm good. Yeah, you're free to leave. Oh, stop the recording alarm.